Welcome back to Turning Over Garage. This episode, we're going to continue on the motor, get more things taken off of it, get ready to separate the transmission and the motor. But first, we're going to continue with some electrical that's up top, disconnect the fuel line as well, try to get as many of the connectors off, any sort of brackets that's not needed. Try to get all that prepped for this part 2, and then part 3 should be the transmission drop itself and pulling the motor out and seeing what the rest of the car looks like. That's my plan, that's my goal. Hopefully I can stick with it. For all those that I've been watching, I want to thank you. Anybody that's new watching this, please hit that subscribe button. And look through into my previous videos. Just as a quick rundown for new viewers, this is my 2003 PT GT. It's got the Stage 1 SRT4 tune in it. It's also a 5-speed. It's quite the sleeper. You can hear in one of my other videos the turbo and everything like that, and listen to how it sounds. And also in that video, the turbo wasn't even working correctly because my speed sensor was bad. But that's finally been replaced. And I have a video, I think on this phone. I might end up putting it in after I got the speed sensor and heard the turbo, and like it truly came to life once the speed sensor was in. Something that I'm going to need to keep in mind in this video, I'm actually going to be getting more hands into on the car itself. So all this crud, like I'll need to remember, don't wipe my face with my hands, or maybe breathe a little bit lighter, if I'm really close to it. My shop vac actually burned up. I was just going to go ahead and shop vac it, but it's not going to work. And I don't think my wife would appreciate if I used her I think it was like $150 crazy sucking vacuum. I don't think she would want me to do this with it. Now I was going to wash it off, but I didn't want residue to go into places and water go in places. So this one I'm just going to have to suck it up. But anyway, as I said, let's continue. I already loosened the clamp for this. This comes from the top of the radiator over to your filler neck and thermostat housing, which is down here. And this one's already messed up previously before I owned it. I don't see no cracks. I think I'm going to go ahead anyways and try to price new ones. Now the part that concerns me. If the exhaust didn't actually cause the fire by melting the oil lines, which we're going to find out at some point. Another thing has been this fuel. And earlier, I don't anymore, but I thought I caught the smell of gasoline. But I don't smell it now, so maybe it's because that was something that was on my mind because I wanted to check this fuel rail out. But here's the injectors. Oh, and a piece of rubber. I'll put that here with my extra rubber pieces for the car. I do have all 3 solenoids, so this whole assembly, this is all going to come straight out. except for the throttle cable. I don't think I have that. But this, I'm not even, from down here, I need to disconnect it, because I didn't on the other car. I have it disconnected from here. So other than from there, up, gone. It's all brittle anyways. And everything's together nice and neat too. And it looks a lot better. So on this car, or at least, yeah, this car, the red boot is also indicated on your solenoid. Mine actually has a red dot, so red to red, and that's how they were plugged in. That's something I'll need to keep in mind because I don't know if the other solenoid is like that. In case these wires get all twisted. That's blue. There is a blue dot. Okay, so that's good news. Hopefully the other one's like that. Green and green. We can go ahead and start removing some of this. Music is coming from this live here. Gt Art 518. He makes glass items. He does quite a few lives. This is the same live as what my previous video. This is all the same day. Really down to earth guy, really cool. He makes his lives fun. He does do giveaways. Very simple. Get 25 viewers on, or sometimes maybe more, it depends. He does a giveaway. If it gets 100 shares, that's what it is right now. Live giveaway at 150 shares. Check him out. Really cool guy. So back to here. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to remove these old lines. This I'm just going to put there. It should still be connected down here, and which it is. There's this vacuum rubber line. I'm going to take it off there. Hopefully it'll come off. Let's see if you guys can see it right here. I'm going to try to get that one separated and then come across and, well, we'll disconnect this one first. I'm not worried about how these go. It's not staying. And this goes to my boost gauge. Let's set that out of the way. And then the rest of this, I figured this one would have been melted. But we'll try and, yeah, it was. Okay, so now this is all coming out of the way. I just got to go ahead and take that other line off. On the back of the cruise control, there's a tab here that we'll have to push out and take off, and then everything should be ready to come off. There's also a vacuum line on top, which I'm going to clean up and label. That way I remember and don't forget to not plug this one in. Even though I don't think my cruise control does work anyways, but we're almost ready to pull it out. I have it unplugged and I'm going to label it as well. So this just has me a little jazzed. 3 out of 4 of these injector plugs are literally just sitting on it. This one here actually has a functioning plug, a lock on it, lock tab. These ones were, that's not good. I'm going to go ahead and get a good look at our coil wiring. Uh-oh. Oh, okay. Well, it looks like that one's all effed up too. Might have some heat damage to it too. I'm going to go ahead, get some tape on here and label it. If anybody that watches my videos, if you have any spare parts, I think I would like the wiring harness for the injectors. That way they would lock on. I'd feel more comfortable. If I don't get any response, I'll even put a picture up on my Instagram. See if anybody can help me. But Yeah, I think I want this. I want to do everything correctly, so I might even try to locate a new wire as well, because on the, I can't show you that. The other motor, I just unplugged it. I didn't cut it, and I freaking should have. But anyway, yeah, if anybody has the injector plugs that can at least just cut it, so I can at least, you know, make my own pigtail, make sure it's good and secured, and keep it so that my plugs stay locked, I would greatly appreciate it. As well as a new coil wiring. I'm not going to ask for much. Any help would be appreciated. 10mm, and that one down there is an 8. So I just lost some footage, which I can easily just re-record, but I'm going to attempt, and no, I haven't done, oh, well, it came off. Well, that was easy. I thought this would be hard. We'll get a rag. Now with the fuel line off, everything over here is disconnected. I don't have to worry about disconnecting my oil line. I don't have to disconnect my cooling lines. That all can come off together. I do need to take off the hot pipe, get it taken off. Also back at the back of the manifold, or the bottom part of the turbo. I have more access to remove the air filter. I am thinking of going aftermarket. I'm pretty sure that I do have the stock one still from the other car, but I don't have the filter box, and I'm going to get a different filter. But if anybody has any spare, you know, air intakes or a link for a decent priced one, let me know. Leave a comment, please. I'd appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and take that vacuum line off of my wastegate, and I'll have better access, which you can't see, but you'll know how much, with all the pain in the butt that this really is, you know what it's like when everything's together. And I will say, this is so easy like this. And I know this is ruined. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this puppy's done. Take the clamp off. Yeah, she's so dry rotted. I mean, it's literally just tearing like butter. I'm not putting much effort into it to rip that. Gotta remember, keep my face back. There. I know it's hard to see, but yeah, we're getting closer to where it got hot. And the fire was like right here, this whole section. So let's see what more damage is. Oh, that vacuum line goes inside. Oof, stinky. What is this, a temp sensor? There's something over there. I need to remember that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the little doohickey here, air filter. I'll probably just get another one. We have a connector down here and some more wiring that come from the starter. I want to wait for that because I want to easily just rotate everything over. Might as well take this rubber line off. This is just, I'm pretty sure, 3/8 hose, so it can come off. I do know the PCV valve was changed before. I want to say it might have, whenever this motor was put in, it was changed, according to what I was told. And I want to say there might be 7,000 miles on this PCV valve. Since the fire really wasn't up here, do you think I should replace it still? It was functioning before. The next thing I'm going to do, nothing needs done there. This heat shield, homemade one. Yes, I do have them. Okay. Hey, so I'm going to go ahead and take the bracket off the intake and the block, and I want to expose everything so I can go ahead and separate the wiring harness here after I take the wiring off of the starter. This out.
Ooh, big project. Yep. Before being in my room. Beep, 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 beep.
Are we still recording? Okay. Let's see. On the ground or the starter, there's a just a little mini plug. Should just pull it straight off. Sometimes it's a pain. But there's a spot to pinch. And then these should be 13 millimeters. Top one's 13. The bottom seems to be 12. I'm going to leave the nut on the starter as well. Like the solenoid might be a little loose. Oh well, I got that backup starter. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to disconnect is, I believe that's the knock sensor down here on the bottom. I'm just going to push down, push in, and oh, that broke. I guess I should do it the right way and use my pick and do it. Oh well, I didn't. Way to go, dummy. I'm going to unplug this harness. Oh, hope. And I'm going to put a label on that, but I'm going to label it as A. Tape on there. Where'd my marker go? Okay. I'm going to do the same thing with the female part of the plug. Come down here carefully. Let's see. There's the plug there. Here's another sensor. Where does this harness separate at? It don't. Okay, well, it does right here. At the AC pump, which is completely covered in grime. This sensor, how do you come off? That's unplugged. This is just covered in mess. Get a label put on this one as well, because it came off the air compressor or the AC compressor. And then there's another sensor. I don't know what it is. I think it's the low pressure. I think. Might be a temperature sensor. Yeah, right there at the thermostat housing. It's kind of tight to get into, so I'm going to carefully do this with 2 flathead screwdrivers. Get one on the tab to push down, and I'm going to try to get the other one and use it to make it slide. I'm going to go ahead and start to remove this power steering line. That way I can try to get it up out of the way as well. And I'm going to go underneath and I'm going to start working on getting this intercooler pipe off and look at the exhaust and see if it'll be easy to take off the back. But first things first, power steering line. So this is an 18 to take off the bottom of the power steering pump. And as I was trying to pull my line through, this AC line was in the way. 10mm bolt. This should pop up like so, and I can pull it. Maybe I can. I don't know. Well, we'll just leave it there and just put the bolt back in, just to give me a headache later, because it'll probably get stuck. But now I can freely move that power steering line. All the more that she hangs until I take these bolts out, which they should be 13s. I know the one's messed up. I might have fixed the other one. I can't remember. But anyway, we'll get that. We'll go ahead and actually I'll do it from up here. Get up there and disconnect the hot pipe, and then that'll come out, and then we can start working with the exhaust. It's tight in there to try to even get a video, but the clamp is now loose. I'll go ahead underneath now and start getting them other nuts. Well, first it should be nuts, but probably all going to come out as the full entire stud, knowing my luck. But anyways, we'll get that and drop the hot pipe, and we'll look at the exhaust. I had to take the homemade heat shield one of the previous owners made. I don't know what happened to the original. I guess maybe they broke. But now we have better access down there, and I can have some lighting down there. But as you can see at the firewall, there was definitely some fucking heat. There was definitely some freaking heat. What's this line go to? Who knows? But now we can see back there a little bit. There's an oxygen sensor I'll need to unplug. There's my screwdriver down here that ran away. That was just a little bit ago. From here it actually looks like the bolts, I know it's hard for you guys to see. Let's get some light. Bolts don't look too bad. They just look dirty. And as you can see, that exhaust piece is broken. I wonder if there's something down there that it might have rested on. Rubber, maybe? We're getting closer. That's where all the heat's was. Okay, so a little bit of off video. I got the rest of this organized. I also found that my harness for the throttle body area, for the throttle positioning sensor and all that, are on here as well. So I taped before it right here, and these 3 connectors all go up top. I also disconnected the cam sensor here. There's also another sensor that runs to the back down there. I can't see it. We'll figure it out. Okay, so real quick, the oil lines are down. The hot pipe is out, just for temporarily. I put the 13mm bolts back up on. These should be 15mm for the inspection cover. That'll have to come off for separating the motor and the trans. This cover gives you access to the flywheel / clutch bolts. But it's actually pretty rust free. I know this probably looks like it might be rusted, but it's not. It's just a bunch of oil residue. Inch exhaust. Something crazy. I did not lube any of the nuts or bolts for the exhaust, and I didn't even think about it. But I grabbed my tools what was needed, just to see if I could even get it to break loose, and this one came off perfectly. So here's some hope. Hopefully the other three do too. This time it was the bolt and it came out. I really hope that the bottom two come out just as easy. Today's flavor of lubricate, penetrating oil, what have you. I'm going to try the Seafoam Deep Creep. You guys get to see it as well. A lot of good things have been said about it. I'm a WD-40 and a huge PB blaster guy, so we'll see if maybe this can stay in the old toolbox and hang out with the other two. So I just learned a new feature about my little tripod. I couldn't get the right angle, but if I closed the legs on it and then set an angle as if the legs were open facing the other way, it gives it to you. I did not know that. But anyway, I don't have anything up on the last two yet. As I did say, the one nut on the bottom did in fact break free, but it started squeaking. I'm not going to get too cocky. I was lucky with the top two. I'm sure these two would come out with no problem. But I don't have a lot of luck, and I really don't want to chance it with these ones. Oh wow, instantly. Whenever I stopped before I sprayed it, it was, oh, here's some more burnt crap hanging from underneath. It started getting stiff, so I stopped. And all I did was spray that, leave it sit. You know, you've seen me do it. You experienced it. And just like that, hardly anything, and it's coming straight out. Try this other one, see how easy it breaks. Free. Ooh. A little snappy, but like butter. I'm pretty sure the fire started right here. Like butter, that one twisted off. The other one, let's see. No, I can't do it with my finger. Awesome. This is awesome. These came out as easy as they did. Check for any washers. It's loose up top too, it looks like. Yeah. Huh. Okay, well, that's not good. Handler from Happy Gilmore just popped in my head whenever I was using my ratchet. Just give it a little tap, tap, tap. Tappity tap. Hopefully you can see it. We'll flip it this way. I'm sure you can, but the exhaust is actually fully broke there. And it's loose at the back of the engine. Well, manifold. And in order to do the rest, I'm going to have to drop the exhaust, which all I have to do is just take it out of the boots, the rubber grommets for it. Welcome back, everybody. Day 2 for part 2. Off camera, I got the headlights off. motor mounts. So the transmission mount and the motor mounts, I plan to try and drop this all in one piece. I want to drop it down below. So I'm still working on this wiring harness, which goes all the way back in there, and I don't know what other stuff there is. You can't see anything. There's a little bit of a gap here that, yeah, you can see into, like you can see there. But I'm going to try to carefully do it this way. Drop it between the cherry picker and the motorcycle jack. It shouldn't be that hard to do. I'd like to try to set the motor onto the transmission jack and call it right there. That's what I'd like to do, so we'll see if it works out that way. I got a couple goodies for the car. I ordered high beams because I already have LED low beams, and the turn signals are already low beam or LED. So let's get some high beam. Found some online. I'm looking into paint. I think I found what I'm going to go with. It's not the tangerine pearl, but it's burnt orange, and I do like the burnt orange, and it's not a cheap knockoff brand either. It's 30 something a quart though, so I'll need at least two quarts, I'd say, just to do the outside. But I don't know, I still have my options. I got some of this Loctite rust stuff that I'm going to use. I'm going to get all this cleaned off, and then as I do the body work, I'm going to put that stuff on, sand it, do another coat before I do anything with putty. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'll just get a whole new panel. I don't know yet, but the rocker panels will be easy to fix. It's just that hole and those and that. So I'm going to figure, we'll figure something out. If anybody actually has a parts cruiser and is willing to cut it, because literally it stops here. So if anybody can just cut this, I'll cut it out of, of this car, and then I'll weld it and do it, and then they're, a lot less work that way. I don't know, let me know. This is the passenger side. And the turkeys are going crazy. The parts store had a sale on caliper paint. What was usually $8.99 was $4.99. It was a 50% off sale. I don't know what the promotions really for it was, but they didn't have any orange, so I went with red. So the calipers will be going red. So let's dig back into this. As I said, the headlights I already have out. I did that off camera. Everything's put away and organized and bag labeled. So I'm going to continue with the electrical. And then I'm also going to start trying to get these mounts off for like the shifting cables. My clutch hydraulic line right here. I'd like to get that off and out of the way. And other than the bolts on the transmission and need to drop the axles, take them out, the transmission's basically ready. This line here, we'll zoom in for you so you can see it. On the 5 speeds, this is your hydraulic clutch line, and you have to push them in, like you have to get them in real far. When I pulled the transmission, I actually just used channel locks and kind of gripped at the back, closed them, and then pushed them in, and it popped right out. But doing this motor swap that I'm going to be doing, I have more room because I didn't take the radiator and the intercooler, all that stuff. I didn't take that off whenever I did the transmission swap. But obviously with this, I'm going to need to. I'm doing it this way. So it'll be so much more easier. Let's get you set up and see what we can do. So under the shield here is the alternator. On the back there's a 13mm nut that has a cable running off of it, and then there's your main harness that plugs into it right to the left of it. But those are disconnected. I didn't see anything else down there. I'll try and get those labeled if I can. Otherwise, I'll try and keep everything tucked there. But I'm assuming that it runs on this harness that runs down there anyways. The oxygen sensor up here. Where'd that? There it is. Right here is now labeled. And this, I'm assuming it's like a ground or something. There's a tab underneath the back of the block here. I can't really see. I got it labeled and unplugged. The exhaust is done. The hot pipe's already off. The charge pipe's off. As far as I'm aware, I believe for the moment the cam's already unplugged. I already unplugged my speed sensor, which I'm going to take off and store away because I don't want to take a chance of breaking it while dropping the transmission. Really, it's just up here and then some work underneath, and then it'll be time to try to do the mounts. See what happens. I don't know. But it's a good start. I think now what I'm going to do is just double check for any other electrical. So upon further inspection, I did find a ground here on the bracket on top of the transmission that help hold the shift cables. So I already have that one off. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect these heater core lines. They're going to have to be replaced. They don't look bad, but I'm going to replace them anyway. And that one looks like it might be fun. Try to zoom in. It might be okay. I don't like these ones though. I hate these V-band. I'm not a fan at all. Especially if they break unexpectedly. And then I'm just going to leave those at the firewall. See if we can get in there a little bit for you to see. Turbo, firewall. And since I have some more light, you can really see the firewall now. Thankfully, the paint looks to be okay, other than here, but that'll wash off. My big worry, I need to get contact cleaner for all the wiring, at least anyways. But I really want to be careful with my PCM. Another wire, maybe somebody else might be able to help me. The oil pressure sensor I was told was broke, which it is. When the motor was switched previously, they forgot about it, didn't see it, I can't remember, but it broke. This was in the general area, along with this O2 sensor. I think it goes somewhere underneath. I didn't disconnect it, I just found I was tracing wire and it came with it. But anyway, I know there should be two, so I'm wondering if maybe it's in here somewhere. But if anybody can correct me or just help reassure me, it's like a gray colored wire. So I'm assuming there should be two, because with the oil pressure sensor from the other motor, I made sure to cut the pigtail so I could attach it to this car. But I don't see anything else, and I think it's time to start taking the brackets off the top of the trans. Move my light so everybody can see. Watch out, bub. I got one more 13 millimeter. There's another one down here. I'll use my pry bar and push these bushing caps off of my shift cable. There's two of those. And then that should be it. That should free the top of that, which I already started, so. Okay, I got my shift cables disconnected, and I also got that bracket finished. Don't know where you came from. Anyway, I'm going to take my bushings out and put them in a bag. I'm not going to worry about labeling what they are, because I know what I've done this enough. I know which one it is. I know where it goes. But I'm just going to push these out. The same for the bottom one. Just like butter. For this, bottom, top, fatter, smaller. I think might just be about time for the axles. Actually, no. Let's do the heater core hoses first. So I got the axle nuts off, driver and passenger side. I did get those hoses off. I also got the carrier bearing for the intermediate shaft. Those two 13mm bolts are out. So now 13/16 for my strut to knuckle. Take those nuts and bolts out, drop it, the axles can come out. I'm going to leave the driver's side in, or passenger side in, so I don't lose as much transmission fluid. And then I'm just going to stuff the driver's side, that way it don't spill shit everywhere. All the connections are around here taken off. This is just, yeah, yucky. But getting closer and closer and closer. I'm trying to just double check that there's no more electrical, because I don't want to break something myself, which I think we are okay. I'm pretty sure that hose can stay on. I think that goes to the turbo. But getting a little closer. Got the axles out on both sides, so that's completely freed out of the way now. Ended up losing transmission fluid anyways. Don't matter. I'll put some fresh stuff in it anyways. Go. Anyway, the next step is basically try to get things supported, get an idea as to where I'm going to hook onto.